to talk about her journey with the P3 to Life program. It's a program for following in phase 3 and also to take you into maintenance long term. And it's just basically a new way to approach P3. We know in the past with phase 3 we kind of had a very small set of kind of guidelines, which was to avoid starches and sugar, but it wasn't very specific. And so, we've made it work, but it's often we don't know what or how much to eat or when to add things. And so it's been challenging in the past. And so that was what the development of the P3 to Life program was all about. And so Andrea's gone through the whole thing, and we're going to hear her feedback on how following it's been for her and how she would compare it to doing P3 in the past without the program. So thanks for being with me today, Andrea.
Thanks for having me.
So tell me, this sounds like this is not your first rodeo with hCG. You've done it before. Do you want to give us maybe just a little background on that in a synopsis?
I did about, I think I've done, this is probably round number 5 or 6. I did 2009. I started, did 3 rounds really well. Lost, I went from 240 to 140, so I lost almost 100 pounds.
Wow.
But slowly over the years you slip habits and go back, so I decided to do another set of rounds this year to try to get back to where I want to be, because I didn't add exercise like I should have before, so that's my goal this time. So
That's awesome. That's great. Yeah, exercise is definitely, it's, I think, one of those things we tend to put off, but it can play a big role in maintenance, I think. Yeah.
well, and I think that the past P3s have actually played a big role in setting me up to not do it well, and I think this time I'm in a good position for that. So
Good. So what were your biggest concerns when you contemplated going into P3? Like, you've done a few of them. What was the thing you were always most concerned about?
well, kind of what you already mentioned, what to add and when to add it, because like you said, the guidelines are eat whatever you want, just don't eat sugar and not too much fat, which wow, that's really open-ended.
Right. Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, and that's really what a lot of people worry about as well. Even myself, when I would do P3s, because I've learned a lot about the nutrition aspect in the last few years while I've been maintaining. So yeah, initially for me, same thing. I would struggle with P3 too, just because, like you said, it's so open-ended, and so it's just being low carb. I've realized, and a lot of other ladies have realized, is not always enough.
Yes. And I get stuck in okay, I'm realizing I'm eating grilled chicken and a salad and grilled fish and cabbage again, just because I know that's safe. And
Yeah.
you can't
And
do
it gets
that.
old.
Exactly.
Nobody's gonna live that way. Like, no one's gonna eat that way forever. That's
Exactly.
true. Well, if you were to explain to someone else, another hCG, or just kind of in a few sentences, what the P3 program, like why it's been valuable to you, what would you tell them?
It takes the guesswork out of it. It puts down what you can eat, when you can eat it, and it's such a wide variety. After coming off of, like you just said, grilled chicken and grilled fish and cabbage and spinach and salad, it just opens up a wide variety of foods and slowly let you add them, add more calories. That's just all the guesswork is.
That's good. That's good. And it's funny, I've been reading like different, I like to read different books on psychology type stuff and decision making and, starting new habits, those types of books. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the things it talks about is that there's a real thing called decision fatigue, and that throughout the day, like as we make decisions, it's taxing to us, and we kind of only have so much ability each day to process those things. And so they basically said, as you make more and more decisions, you basically have less and less ability to make wise decisions because you get tired. It's like your brain is like a muscle and you're tired.
That's why those commercials are on in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Because people be like watching the infomercial in the middle of the night and like, oh, that looks good. Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah, because you're exhausted, and so you just like have no mental reserve left. Yeah. So that was part of the thing too, is this, that having to make so many decisions, because phase 2 is easy because it does tell you exactly what foods to eat. I mean, you can choose how you prepare it, but since you can't use oil, it's pretty limited. So like, okay, well, I have here, I'll just pick from these 4 vegetables today. And so it's pretty easy. But yeah, with the phase 3, it's just a world. Like even Pinterest, I love Pinterest, but it can be overwhelming. Like so many different recipes and you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, taking that decision out helps you to not get the decision fatigue and help you avoid making poor choices. So yeah. So Andrea, then how did you end up following the P3 to Life program yourself? Because there's the original plan, there's the simplified plan, and there's kind of like the build your own kit. Did you follow anyone exactly? Did you make tweaks? Like how did you use it for your life and family?
I pretty much followed the simplified plan,
Okay.
but I tweaked it to the end because I realized I ended up repeating some of the step 2 ones and never really actually did all the week 3 ones, recipe wise anyway. But I pretty much did just the simplified because that worked well, doing it in small batches, having several things ready to choose from each day. So.
Gotcha, great. And now when you were doing your cooking, was it for you or for family members as well, or?
I did it both ways. During the week, since I work full time and everything, during the week I did it mostly batches for myself. But on the weekends, like I did the actually last weekend I did the chicken curry in the Instant Pot for the whole family.
Nice.
Because every time I would cook it, they're like, "That smells so good."
Good.
We're
Should I better
deprived.
make
We're
enough?
eating pizza, and you get to eat that. So
Yeah. Well, good. Well, since you mentioned you working full time and all, maybe we can just elaborate on that a little because that's also what people want to know sometimes is because it does involve cooking, right? So people wonder like, can I really do that when I have kids and work and all that stuff, or and maybe tips on how to do that. So tell us about your personal life, what responsibilities you have, and maybe more details
I
on how
work
you make
full
it work.
time. I work full time for a college as a financial aid administrator. So we were right at the end of spring semester, beginning of summer semester. So it was a really, really busy time for me.
Gotcha.
And I have 2 daughters. Both were graduating from high school
Wow.
last week. And my husband's lives with us as well as my mom. So we're 5. So we're pretty busy. But um, I would just like when I come in at nighttime, cook because it's like I think the modified plan said cook this day for these 3 days and then cook this day and I just set it up to do that. And my girls are old enough to help cook and do some prep work as well as my husband helped too. So it
Great,
works well.
that's good. And so it sounds like did you actually because in the simplified meal plan she's talking about I had made like some little potential cooking schedules. Is that what did you kind of utilize
Yeah,
that a little bit?
yeah, I kind of utilize that. Yeah,
Great. Yeah, because that was another thing trying to take the guesswork out. I thought, oh, I could actually tell you guys what you'll need to make and for how long, how many days it'll last and all that.
yeah.
Good. Awesome. And I like that you said you got your girls involved too, because even honestly, even my 7-year-old son, he's getting pretty good and he's helpful. So I've been using him to help. He's helping me make dinner lately.
Well, that's good because my girls have been cooking. They're responsible. They're homeschooled, so in the afternoons when my husband would go to work, they became responsible to cook 2 times a week. So they've learned.
Great.
They've been cooking for several years now. So
That's fantastic. I love that. That's what I'm trying to do with him too. We homeschool our son as well, and every kid's different, of course. But it's like initially there's kind of like the I don't feel like doing it, and it's like I could have just been like, okay, whatever, just go do something else. But so I was like, no, you need to help. You need to contribute to the family. Like,
exactly, you want to eat, right?
yeah, you eat. I'm not gonna just do everything for you. Like you're getting old enough to contribute. And you know what? He turned right around and now he's fine with it. So it's like the other day I actually have the week 4 meals coming together, and there's a recipe in there with a bunch of chopped mushrooms, and so he did all the mushrooms, while I was getting the meat ready, and it came
Yeah.
together so much quicker. So even if your kids are smaller, like they can help.
Oh, they can get stuff out of the pantry or out of the refrigerator. They
Yeah.
can measure things in the measuring cups and spoons and yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I had him put the groceries away. I had him, and he empties the dishwasher now. So it's like, hey, this is good, awesome. So it is doable. Then it sounds like,
It is.
um, that's good. Yeah, because that's the hard part is we're tired when we come home from work. We don't feel like cooking. There probably were times when it did feel a little bit hard to do, maybe because you felt tired.
Yeah. Yeah, and sometimes I would think, oh, I wish there was just like like a shake or something we could have and just do it. But then I thought I can see the reason for putting it in, and I can see the reason for not putting it in because some people that would become the default, and they would never learn to change the patterns to cook all these good things for themselves. So
Right. Yeah, exactly. Because that is kind of what I feel like the 3 week meal plan, this portion of it is kind of like, is almost like a little training ground,
Hmm.
where you may not necessarily need to cook all the meals always forever, but it kind of, you get a feel for all these different flavors and textures, like you said, and just what a real meal can feel like when you eat it. We're all different, but I think a lot of the people that are drawn to my blog and the program are like me, and just that we've had trouble with portion control. That's been my problem. And so learning that, like, wow, there's ways to design a recipe and a meal that is actually feeling enough, that's not too high calorie. But if you are just eating a shake and then cheese and apples just all by themselves, for the level of food I want, ends up often being too many calories. Do you have anything to say about that?
Yeah, and I think that's the same. But some of the and I think it's in one of the questions about the portions and everything. But some of the food was just, it was like a mountain of food. I was like, oh my gosh, I can eat all this. I get to eat all this, and then I'd be like, I am so stuffed. And then when the next morning, when the scales don't change, and the thing's stable, are like, oh wow, I can actually eat proper amounts of food and still maintain, my weight. So that was an awesome aspect of it.
That's good. I'm so glad to hear that. Yeah, yeah, because that's what I feel like. I want to be able to eat enough to feel like it's what I wanted, you
Mhm.
know? So, yeah. Well, good. I'm glad to hear that. Now, what were your actual well, let me ask you this. Did you have any correction days during phase 3 with the program?
My phase three actually got off to a really rocky start because we had a couple of crises and had to run out of town, and I had just started, so I totally slipped off the wagon. I had like two or three like wow meals, and
So
I
just
went up
out.
just yeah, just yeah, and I won't even tell you what I ate. Um, I gained like 6 pounds, just boom.
Yeah.
But so once the stress, once we were able to come back into town, the stress was gone, and I got right back on the wagon. I actually went and dropped 9 pounds. So I did do a correction day when we came back from that trip, and I knew I was up 6 pounds. I did one correction day and went down like 2.5 pounds. But then I immediately started right back on the week one meals, doing them just right, and I actually went down less weight than I had ended, three,
Wow.
3 pounds. So it worked out well for me.
That's great. So even though you had the correction day from, because you had to go out of town and you just ate off protocol stuff,
Yeah,
but then when you came back, it sounds kind of like you started P3 over in a way.
yeah,
And then
kind of.
from that point on, did you have any steak days?
No, none. After that, yeah. After that,
Awesome.
I didn't have to have any sick days, and everything just stabilized. Stabilized right out. So
That's so fantastic. So, can you tell me then, Andrea, what were your actual tangible results from following the program overall? Because I think that's what most people want to know. They want to know, like, well, did you stabilize, or some cases, some women are losing weight. What were your results from the program?
actually, once I um, got strictly onto the protocol after some stressful time at the beginning, I stabilized 2 pounds less than my last VLC day. So
Wow.
I basically lost 2 pounds, and I'm still right at that. I was up a little bit this morning because we celebrated graduation last night and went to a Japanese steakhouse. So, but I'm
Yeah,
still within my 2 pounds. So,
that's fantastic. And you're done with phase 3 now, right?
yes,
So you're
yes,
moving into kind of maintenance for now for a little bit.
yeah.
So,
I plan to do another round the week after 4th of July.
gotcha. Great. That's awesome. That is so good to hear. Now, we talked about it just a little bit, but when it came to like the portion sizes, and the taste of the meals and everything, like, how did you feel being that you actually even lost just a little bit following the protocol? Did you, I mean, how did you feel? Did it feel like enough food? How was the taste for you? Did you feel satisfied?
It was awesome. That was one thing. I think I sent emails to you saying that recipes are just awesome, 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 awesome. The so many textures and tastes, and I felt like I was eating real food again, which I haven't dared to do for such a long time because it's just you got to diet forever and ever and ever just to maintain is what you feel like. But this was not like dieting or anything. This was like living full life with wonderful foods, and I'm planning on keeping some of the recipes and doing the some of them have the maintenance addition that you can add avocado and different things. And I plan on using those
Yes.
because that's the kind of stuff that we love to eat at our house. So
Yeah.
um,
Good, good. So you didn't feel hungry or like it was like you
hungry.
were waiting for it to be over.
No, no. Matter of fact, I was stuffed several times. I'm like, the spaghetti squash one. I was like, I can remember eating that one night, thinking, oh my gosh, I don't think I can eat all this. It's just so much food, but it
Yeah.
was awesome.
Good. I figure that's a good problem to have, you know?
Mhm.
Better that like you get to eat more than you need than like there's not enough here.
Exactly.
That's good. Awesome. Let me see here.
And I love being able to have dessert every night.
Oh yeah. Well, talk about that then. So in the program, you guys, there's a designation for dessert, and it's a certain there are these phase 3 smoothies that I've created. I use them in my own life, and yeah. So tell me what you think of those, and
Those are awesome. Actually took my smart stick to work. Our air was out one day last week. I took my smart stick to work, and I with all my different flavors. Like, okay, guys, I can make double chocolate. I can make peppermint patty. I can make Snickerdoodle. So I
awesome.
made them for some of my coworkers, and they're like, "There's really only 60 calories in this, or there's only 70 calories in this." They were just amazed. So,
Really? What's a smart stick, by the way?
um, the Cuisinart, you had a link to it. The Cuisinart
Oh,
stick with the cup.
yes, yes. Okay, right. Gotcha. I know what that is. Right. So it's like a smaller, right.
You're like an
Gotcha.
immersion. It's an immersion blender.
Immersion blender. Okay. Right.
Because I tried my we have a Nutra Ninja IQ, and I
Yes.
couldn't get the smoothies to be smooth. They were
Right.
just too. They were just not coming out right texture wise. So I found out I could take the Smart Stick and use my crushed ice feature from my refrigerator, and it's already pre chunked up, and then and at work we
Gotcha.
had shaved ice type stuff. So we were just down that we were having a dessert smoothie party.
Cool. That's awesome. So yeah, you guys, if you are a P3 to Life member and you're still getting the hang of the dessert smoothies, you can use crushed ice to start with, and that actually does work well if you have a blender that's maybe not quite as powerful or whatnot. And then you can get the smoothness that it's supposed to be in the thickness. Yeah. So, and that's so neat that your coworkers actually liked them too. I mean, do you use like the erythritol and the stevia for the sweetener, or what do you use?
Yeah, I was using the swerve powder, and then I
Yeah.
had the pure stevia drops in there. So, and I told them, I said, no, these are not well, and most of them are trying to lose weight, so they've been on a lot of sweet stuffs too. So it wasn't
Gotcha.
like it was not sweet to them. I
Right.
said, I like mine not so sweet
Yeah.
because I like dark chocolate without a lot of sweetener in it anyway.
Gotcha.
But we would just adjust it to them, and they
Right.
like it. So
That's awesome. Yeah, because sometimes, like especially with things that have some stevia in it, it's kind of an acquired taste for like your average Joe, Like my
yeah.
husband still hates stevia, but I love it because I'm used to it now. But so it's neat that they actually liked it.
Yeah, they enjoyed it, and yeah, some of them were like, "Well, we need to do this again and play that." I said, "Well, there's other recipes with mangoes and blackberries and different things like that." And they're like, "If we bring the mangoes, will you bring the stick back?" So,
That's awesome. I'm so glad to hear that. Yeah, because who knew, right? Like you wouldn't know that you could make something that's kind of that much volume and that thick
mhm.
for so few calories. So
And so much taste.
yeah, because like in the past, I would have thought you would need like a whole cup of mango or a cup and a half for one smoothie. You think that's what you need, and when I was experimenting, I have a lot of other actually smoothie recipes later to compile into like a separate book. And I have been amazed at how, you actually don't need a lot of certain ingredients to provide the taste or the texture.
Mhm.
We tend to overdo it and we just don't realize that it's not needed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
more is
so,
always better, in the
right.
American vocabulary usually. So,
Yeah. How long do the smoothies take you to make? Because sometimes people might feel like, well, I don't want to have to cook another thing every night to have a snack. Like, how long would you say it takes you to make one for you?
oh, 5 minutes tops.
Cool.
Yeah, because I'm, once you what probably a little bit more at first because you got to, okay,
Get the
what
hang of it.
ingredients do I need for this one? Now I don't even have to look in the cookbook. I
Right.
know what I need for the Snickerdoodle. I know what I need for the peppermint patty. I know what I need for the mango, and I can just get it out. But
Right.
I still, a glance, okay, half teaspoon, teaspoon, and But yeah, now it's like 5 minutes tops. So
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Once you get past the learning curve, and like you said, you kind of have your favorites and you already know the ingredients, you just throw them in. And yeah, I always tell people same thing, like, yeah, 3 to 5 minutes, because by the time my husband can walk to the freezer and pull out ice cream and like it's all hard at first to like scoop it out and start eating it, like I can make a smoothie in that time. So
and I'm counting putting the stuff up and washing it in the 5 minutes, washing my
right.
stick and things. So, clean up, everything's done, I can go sit down and eat and enjoy my smoothie while I watch TV or something.
That's great. Yeah, because it's true. It's like long term. It's like we need those tools for maintaining without gaining weight, because you're not going to just be happy never eating or snacking at night when watching TV when everyone else is having something.
Yes, exactly. And if you got kids, and everybody else is having ice cream or
I know.
something like that, you want something
Right.
comparable.
Yeah. And what I like, since the smoothies are so low calorie, you can get away with having more than one.
Yeah.
So I do that sometimes. Like, I'm just not feeling the best. I think I'm going to have a few of these. So, have you struggled, Andrea, on past P3s before when you were just doing things on your own? Like, what were the struggles and how was it? Well, we've kind of talked about how things are different this time with the program, but how has it been in the past?
In the past, I've had, I used to use a site, it's gone now. It's a calorie counter about.com. So I was really trying to keep within the right, add just a little bit of calories at a time
Yeah.
and add stuff. So I would get so frustrated. I'd be, in 2 weeks and I'm still only eating 900 calories. And I know that if you just keep down there, you're just slowing your metabolism down.
Right.
So eventually what would happen is I would just go back into like safe zone, grilled chicken salad, grilled fish, cabbage, an apple. And then I'm like, I'm only like 600 calories today, so
Oh,
it's 11 o'clock at night and
oh man.
I could have a spoonful of peanut butter or two or three. And
Yeah.
so you would try and then you get frustrated. And usually what would happen is I would stay really, really, really low calorie and then something would happen and I'm just like, I'm hungry and I'm frustrated and I would just eat something or maybe go several days of eating. And I
Right.
think it really set up. I know there was sometimes some of my rounds with P3, I stayed really, 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 really low calorie, and then the next round of hCG, I didn't do very well
Oh,
because I'd slowed my metabolism down or my body had adjusted to the really low calories
right.
already. Or if I didn't do, if I went on into a maintenance phase, I just started gaining back really quick because I just got frustrated and just like started eating
Right.
off,
Like, I'm
way off.
done. I don't know how to do this, so
Yeah,
forget
yeah.
it.
I'm just tired of being hungry and I'm just gonna eat.
Yeah. Yep.
So I think that this is put in a much better um, setup for much better success. I've stabilized really quickly, and I didn't stabilize really quickly in the past, even though I was only eating like 1,200 calories.
Yeah.
I was still going up in weight.
Really?
I can't. Okay, can't eat that. Try this. Sort of thing.
Wow.
So this has helped a lot to tell you what you can eat, and now you can, and like you have some of those recipes before that we can use as a maintain by adding avocado or mayonnaise or something
Right.
to it, and that's going to be very helpful.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, and it's funny because it sounds too like, even though, like you said, you struggled with your weight still going up, but you were keeping your calories low, and it sounds like you were still trying to be cautious, but then it still
Mhm.
wasn't seeming to work as well.
Well, I think I've and I actually talked with a nutritionist one time when I was having that issue, and she said just like when you don't drink a lot of water and then you drink water, your body grabs it and retains it. She
Right.
did the same thing with food. If
Yeah.
you were really, really low and then like, you had like something off protocol to kind of add to it, your body can grab it and just kind of like, you know, oh, food now, let's hold on to this because she's not been feeding as much.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I know too, I cannot do gluten. If I even experimented this week just to see because I thought, well, if this comes up during the talk, I can announce I ate a roll. And
Yes.
sure enough, the next day it's like phew, the weight went way up. And I
Oh,
think I think gluten is really, really a key for me to get it all out of my diet and
out of
keep
your
it out.
diet. Oh, that's an interesting find. Yeah, I'm the same. I can't have gluten either. So, and then have you tried like other things that might be considered a slightly higher carb thing that didn't cause a gain yet, or have you not tried that wasn't gluten? Or
I'm trying to think what I have experimented with. I did
I
have a
guess
raw.
sushi. I don't know. Was that some rice? Did you have any rice
I
or?
I had rice last night.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was up pounding out this morning. But I mean, I know it's because we ate late
Yeah.
I, and I actually had a piece of pizza too yesterday. Come to think
You're like, come to think of it.
of it. So
It's good though,
it was
like to find those
interesting.
different things, like you
Yeah,
said. Yeah,
and
for
it's
sure.
interesting to see what my weight does tomorrow because if I go, I'm going to be real strict with my protocol today, and
Yeah,
it's back out.
right.
Or it has been in the past.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, that's good. I know I have to avoid gluten as well. And the neat thing is they're really like, for any of you guys who do decide to try out the program, you will find there's so much variety in what you can eat. Like just because you take out one food group or one food, it can be easy to like hyper focus on that and think of like, well, these are all the things I can't ever eat now, and it can, and I had a period when I first removed gluten, when I did fall victim to that thinking at times, or like, poor me, like I can never have pizza, like, and gluten-free pizza is just not good, so I don't like it. So I was just like, I can't have real pizza again, and poor me. But you know what? You realize over time there's just so many other foods that you can eat and that you can be satisfied with that it really becomes a non-issue.
Hmm. Well, and
Yeah.
if you stick with the non-gluten for long enough, and then you do, oh, well, I'm going to have this piece of pizza or this roll or something, you can actually see what it does to your body. You can
Right.
actually, all that stomach upset that you really didn't notice before because,
Right.
oh, well, I had something greasy or this or that. You didn't realize that it was actually the gluten doing it to you.
Right.
Um, you know,
Yeah.
you can actually say, well, pizza's good, but it's not worth, my stomach bothering me for the rest of the night kind of thing. So,
Exactly. That's the exact point you come to. It's like that is not worth it anymore because now I feel so much better when I eat these other things, and yeah, it just becomes not worth it. Yeah, it's true. Was there any positive results from following the P3 to Life program that kind of surprised you, that like as you were going through it, that you're like, you thought it would be different and then the results were different than you would have thought?
the results probably weren't different, but I was really surprised. My thing, I just keep going back to the recipes. I was really surprised at the variety of stuff that you could put into a recipe and keep it within the protocol, keep it from gaining weight. Like coconut cream. I mean, oh my stars, that's like the most wonderful ingredient ever. But you can eat it. You can eat it on P3 and still not gain weight, stabilize, and just being able to have that so much variety, I think was really surprising. I wasn't expecting it to be so. We've got Chinese and we've got buffalo chicken and we've got spicy chili and all these different things with just the results were wonderful, but I was expecting, kind of same bland P2 stuff, just a little elaborated, not this wonderful variety.
Good. Yeah, no, that was definitely the intention. I didn't want it to just be a plain. I did want it to be giving you guys real meals that you'd feel happy eating forever. And again, yeah, like that variety, because we can get bored of eating the same things. I think that's what makes us want to go out to eat sometimes, is because like we get in a rut, of cooking the same tasting stuff.
Yeah, we do a pretty good variety at my house already, but we do a monthly menu and we cook off of that. But you get in a rut that way too sometimes. Oh, well, we all usually have this once a month and this.
Yeah.
But there was a whole bunch of different, like there's Oriental, there's kind of American with the buffalo. There's desserts. There's different ingredients like Napa cabbage and shiitake mushrooms and different things like that that I don't normally buy, even though I do buy a lot of different stuff. So
Yeah.
that was fun to learn to use those new ingredients and
Cool.
experiment with those kind of things. So
That's good. That's good to hear. Yeah, I've gotten similar feedback from some of the other ladies that some of the foods, even, they were like they had never had it and they were a little bit like, I don't know if I'm gonna like that. Like the curry, for instance, or like, I don't know. But then they're like, I'm just gonna try it, and they were like, oh my gosh, I'm so surprised they loved it. And so it gives them another option of things to eat. And two, for you guys that really are just like, no, I really just don't like certain foods, that's okay too. Like, you don't have to follow it to the letter. As far as like, sometimes there's certain meats people do not like. They're like, I don't eat pork, you know. And so you can replace meats very easily with just a similar protein, as far as like the fat content. So it's like you can replace lean pork with chicken breast if you want, or if the pork is, you know, a slightly fattier cut, you can use some boneless, skinless chicken thigh. So you can totally do that and make it work as well. So, well, did you have any just one or two favorite recipes? I know you said you liked a lot of them, but was there a couple favorites?
The Indian curry was probably one of my top favorites. I made it for myself. I made it for my family, and I will make it. I shared it with my boss at work because she's introduced me to Indian food a couple years ago, and she thought it was awesome. Um, that's probably my top favorite.
Awesome.
I like the deconstructed pork egg roll, and I can't think of the one that.
Cool.
The name of the one with the butternut squash sauce.
Oh yeah, the pork with the butternut squash sauce and the zucchini noodles. That one?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, I like that one.
Awesome.
Dessert smoothies, probably peppermint patty was like my all-time favorite because I love York peppermint patties.
Do you? Cool.
But then what really surprised me was the Snickerdoodle, and I'm a chocolate fanatic, and a lot of times I would be, you know, I choose Snickerdoodle over one of the chocolate ones because something about the Snickerdoodle that I really, really like. So.
Awesome. And which is fun because that one, I don't know if did you end up doing the toppings that are optional on it? You did.
I did the batch topping, so I still have mine in my little container, so I got it ready to go anytime I want it. So.
Yeah, because that makes a difference too. But it's funny how the Snickerdoodle one, like without the topping, it's like it's basically almost no calories. It's like, how's that even possible? So, but the topping is totally divine. So. Well, good. Well, thank you so much for letting me, pick your brain about this stuff. Was there any other just closing thoughts for anyone else who's considering whether or not it's worth, their time and money to do the program?
I would tell them it's definitely worth the time and the money to spend on it because having had past P3s that did not go well, and I think it actually set me up for failure in maintenance as well as failure in another hCG round. I think that it's just really critical to get that experience. Like you said, it's like a little training ground for all these different recipes, and we've tended, in the past, American culture replaces spice and flavor with fat and things, and this gives you a chance to experiment with, all these different flavors and spices that you can add that add virtually no calories, but lots of taste. So it is definitely, I would definitely not skip it. If I had to pay for it to do it every P3 round, I would pay for it to do it every P3 round.
Oh, wow. Well, I won't do that to you, but that's awesome.
The recipes would disappear, like my printed version would just slowly fade away. By the time the next came around, I would do it again.
Aw. Well, thank you so much for that feedback. That's really great to hear. That's good. Well, I'm so glad that you did it, and I hope your next round goes well too. I'm really pleased to hear that since you did follow it, how the calories do go up, right, for you each week, right, and that you've still maintained even with that being 2 pounds lower for part of it.
Yeah, because a couple times I looked at the calories on the recipe and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't eat all that at one time. I can't have 323 calories in one meal. But yeah, and then to be able to do that 3 times a day, and wow, so
it's awesome. True. Actually, you kind of bring up a good point about, because this plan is not like a snacking, eat 6 to 8 times a day plan. It's literally 3 main meals and then a very low calorie dessert. So that's not really the main. That's not a big portion of the calories you eat. So it's really about like 3 main meals, which means that it is a significantly more calorie meal. And it's just one way, it's just one approach, right? Like, you can totally do different approaches in life. It's just, for me, I've found that I was never satisfied with all of these little meals. I just always wanted to eat more, so then I would overeat.
Yeah, before. Exactly. So if you can eat and it kind of gets you out of that snacking habit too, to have a nice, healthy, satiable meal where you're full and you feel good and you can go on and then the next meal. And I think right now I usually get hungry about around 11:30ish or so, and I go home for lunch at 12, so
Yeah.
that's just perfect. And actually, since lunch is a little bigger than breakfast, I'm usually like 6:30, before I'm starting to say, hey, I need to eat another meal.
Yeah, and that's kind of the point. I felt like that works well for my life as well because then you can focus on doing other stuff with the rest of your time instead of every couple hours like, okay, I have to plan ahead and have the food and go eat it
Yeah,
and because you're hungry again and it's gonna sound funny, but part of the reason I came to this conclusion about it for myself was that we go to a local grill. I live in a rural area, so there's honestly only like 2 or 3 restaurants that I even like out of all the ones up here. So we go to like the same restaurant all the time. Um, but I'm in phase 4, and you guys know I CrossFit, so I am able to eat some simple carbs like French fries and stuff now and then. So this is not something you do in phase 3, but later on if you're exercising, you might be able to get away with this too. But so I get a bunless burger and I get French fries and I also get a salad before with the dressing, which dressing is high calorie. So I eat this whole meal, and it's pretty. I don't know, it's probably a good 800 calorie. And again, for me, everyone's different too, so I don't want to just tell you guys like, oh, you can go eat 800 calories, but so my maintenance level of calories is about 2,000 a day with my level of muscle and activity that I have. So for me, it's okay. And the thing is because it's like this big meal all at once, I always found that as long as I wasn't overly stuffed, I would feel like really good. Like, wow, I just feel so satiated right now. And I don't need to eat again. Like, I really don't feel like I'm looking around wanting to snack still, which is when I used to snack more on cheese and carrot
yeah.
sticks. I was always looking around to eat more after those things, you know?
And okay, that was only 60 calories in the carrot sticks, so I could add a cube of
Right.
cheese and one
Yeah.
melted toast and
Yeah. So I just was like, I that's the approach that I wanted to take with the program, was the idea of having a full meal where you're just like, okay, I'm done. I'm good now for another 3, 4, 5 hours. 4, 5, 6 hours, and I'm good, and it seems like that's what it's achieving. So,
well, and it takes that constant mindset, because if you're doing like you said, those little small meals, your mind is always on food.
right.
Always,
Yeah.
okay, I gotta eat another meal here in 20 minutes, and gotta get this and do that. And
Yeah.
you want to change that focus where you're not just always thinking about food all the time.
Yeah. And it is possible, and the nice thing too is because for a time, the reason that all of us were doing that was because the media was telling us that, oh, these studies show that your metabolism slows down if you don't eat every 2 hours, and like, so you need to do this. And then now they're debunking a lot of those studies, and they're showing that doesn't matter. Your metabolism does not slow down just because you stop eating for 2 hours. Your body is much smarter than that. It can handle several hours without food and just utilize what you ate. So,
I think that the thing that started me on my weight loss journey several years ago when I started doing the hCG and lost a lot of weight, my doctor said your body gives you the same signal for thirsty as it does for hungry. And she said, and I can't remember, 90 something percent of people are dehydrated. So now my thing is, okay, I'm not hungry, I'm thirsty. Drink a bottle of water, and if I'm still hungry in 30 minutes after drinking the bottle of water, then maybe I'll look at having something to eat.
yeah.
And usually I'm not hungry. I'm actually thirsty. So,
That's a good tip. Yeah, I've heard that before as well. I'm glad that you brought that out for everybody because that's a good approach, and it's true. I know I'm dehydrated chronically too. I need to keep working on that.
well, and there was a study that said if you drank 17 ounces of water over, I can't remember if it was 30 minutes or an hour, then it raises your metabolism for
Mm,
several hours afterwards. So,
nice.
that's why so at work, well, anytime any of us drink water, we're all trying to keep everybody drinking. It's like, okay, drink your water.
Smart.
Mom, bottle two.
Oh, that's good. You have like accountability group there. That's great. I need that. That is actually something I'll just admit, you guys, it's a weakness for me. Because I get so busy and I don't I need to carry around something, or I do tend to put that off, but it is important. It's how your body like gets rid of waste and everything too. Like you
Yeah,
need hydration to, yeah.
it's
So
great.
follow Andrea's example, and I'll work on it and report back.
Drink more water.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being with me today. I really appreciate it, and I hope that your next round goes well and maybe even better now that you've kind of got a feel for phase 3.
Yeah, I'm gonna for the next months, and so my next 6 weeks, work on exercise, add in an exercise more, and get and track with that so that when I do the next round, I'll have maybe gain some more muscle mass.
That'd be great. What do you mind if I ask what exercise you're hoping to try pursuing?
Um, in the past, I've had really good success with kettlebells.
Yeah.
I have a routine that I did on from online. It's got like a 5 minute warm up and 3 10 minute rounds and 5 minute cool down. So I'm going to start with just the warm up and the round one and the cool down. And also, I have I really enjoy once I get in. I always enjoy it once I get into it. It's just getting into it. It's T-tap. I don't know if you've ever heard of it before. It's TTAPP.
I've heard of it. Remind me again what it is, though.
The lady's name is Teresa Tapp. Who came up
Yeah.
with it. She studied kinesiology in college, I think, and she broke her back when she was in college. She came up with this routine that she could do. Basically, you're working your muscles against themselves. So you're not using any weights, but it's more slow, controlled movements. So she said it's kind of a cross between like Tai Chi and aerobics kind of thing, but it's not intense.
Yeah.
But it does work. It makes definition, and I mean,
Nice.
it's amazing for slow, simple movements. You can actually be like, oh my gosh, okay.
Too tired. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's good. No, it's funny, actually, the other day, because I'm fairly strong since I lift all the heavy weights with CrossFit, but I was holding a baby, somebody's baby, and they're like 10 pounds. And you're like, man, after 5 minutes, your arm feels like it's going to fall off. And you realize that, yeah, anything, it doesn't matter how light it is, if you do it like sustained long enough, you are going to be wiped. So,
Yeah.
Like, I thought I was strong, but I can't hold this baby anymore.
Somebody take the baby, please.
I know. That sounds great. Yeah. Yeah, exercise, I mean, there's so many different types that you can do. I'm glad you brought up the kettlebells. Kettlebells are an excellent way, and what's nice is it's portable. Like, you can have it at your home.
I started them because I thought I thought they were more of an upper body thing. So, because you're holding this bell with your hand, and I thought the routine was, but man, no, it is really intense on the legs, and the your midsection too. I was like, oh my gosh, I thought I was going to be working my arms. My legs.
Yeah, no, because once you're holding it close to your body and doing squats, it's really it's in your hips too. Do you actually mind if later if I get like a link maybe to the workout, the kettlebell workout that you were referring to that we could put in the show notes for everyone?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Because it's like very very beginner. I'm gonna say it's like, and it was 3 10 minute rounds, and I think 5 minute warm up, 5 minute cool down. So it's only like 40 minutes.
That's
so
great.
It's in the mornings or in the evenings, and
that's great. And honestly, you guys, if you did something like that, literally like to start just twice a week, like you would be good, and you could gradually add to that if you wanted. But like you don't even need to feel like to start exercise like, oh, I have to start 6 days a week, or I don't work out 6 days a week. I actually only work out 3 days a week. So it's like you can do. It's just being consistent. Like start that and just start small, and you can accomplish a lot. You don't need to do 6 days a week to have like a lifestyle of maintenance and health. I think sometimes we think that, and then that's what kind of makes us not do it, because it's like too much.
Yeah, and I think that you should hear that, because it's like, okay, you have to have like so many days a week with weights and so many days a week with aerobic exercise, and then you're like, oh my gosh, I have actually other things to do besides go to the gym 3-4 hours a day.
Yep. Yeah, so you guys, it's true. You really don't. I've been maintaining almost 5 years now. November will be 5. November 2017, depending on when you're watching this, makes 5 years of me maintaining my weight loss from hCG, not dieting again. And I do CrossFit, but I only do it 3 days a week. And like as you mentioned, between the warming up and cooling down time, I'm really only working out hard for like 20 to 40 minutes each time. So that's really like 1 hour, hour and a half a week of hard core stuff. That's it, So, yeah.
That's doable.
It's doable, exactly. Yeah. Like for a while, and everyone's different too. For a while I was trying to do 4 days a week. and I was able to do that for a while, but I just actually started finding that I was really tired. It was making me just really like tired. And like you said, we have stuff to do. So, and sometimes I'll modify a workout too. They'll be like, okay, we're gonna do all these wall balls, and those are one of the things that knock me out. And so I'm like, I'm skipping the wall balls because I have to go play with my son later, and I will not be able to if I do. Like, there's certain things that will make me tired the rest of the day, and so you can make those calls, and you can do a certain amount that will give you the benefits you need without making the rest of your life unreasonable. So
We use crock pot recipes a lot, but the Instant Pot is amazing. I mean, that's just throw stuff in and 20, 30 minutes later, it's done. That's amazing.
it is, isn't it? I know, I was the same way because like the crock pot's nice, like you said, because you don't have to man it, but then the time involved, you have to plan ahead.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's like the best of both worlds. It's like I don't have to like watch it, but I also get to have it be done really fast.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and we have somebody gave me, one of my coworkers sent me some. It's called Six Sisters. And they had all these recipes, and we did it last year about this time. My girls and I spent like 4 days, and we cooked, and we did 30 something meals and put them in freezer bags for the crock pot.
Awesome.
Because we were all going different ways for the summer, and we've used those off and on
Cool.
all year. But now I was like, now I said we can still make them up in the freezer, and we just throw them in the Instant Pot when somebody gets home, instead of somebody having to come home at lunch and put the crock pot on.
Right. That's an awesome idea. I know, actually, I was thinking I had seen that as well. Like, it probably was a similar program where, they were freezer meals, and like you put all these bags and you get these ingredients, and like you just fill all the bags, but it makes different meals or something. And I was like, I love that idea. And then you put them in the freezer.
And that's an easy thing. Well, and I often come home at lunch, but like in the summertime when the girls were working, and our summer schedule at work is different from our regular schedule, so sometimes it was a challenge to have somebody home just to put it in there. So now we don't have to worry about that.
Right. Yeah, that's awesome. That's cool. Well, thanks for your time today. I appreciate it.